Good morning, everyone. It's 10:32. I think it's just about time to get this webinar started. Thanks so much for coming. We've got a bunch of attendees here live on Zoom. My name is Han. I'm the director and founder of Ringgit Plus, and welcome to Ringgit Plus's first exclusive webinar for SMEs in partnership with Maybank. We've got a great lineup today. The webinar is titled, Managing Today's COVID-19 Crisis with Lessons from Past Financial Crises. So I think, the great George Sanataya always said, like, if we don't learn from history, we're doomed to repeat it. So, before we start, maybe a quick shout out to Maybank, our partners for this webinar. Thanks so much. They've done two things. One is been very gracious to give us a lot of support in terms of the content, as well as provide with us Mr. Jason Wong, MD of Maybank Business Banking. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah, so shout out to our partners. We've got a great lineup today, but I'll just quickly introduce them before I pass it to them. So to each of them, three captains of industry across industries. We've got Encik Zamir from GM Peladang Sdn Bhd in the agriculture industry. We've got Encik Wan Syari from Wsf Travel and Tours Sdn Bhd, obviously in the travel and tourism industry. And we've got obviously CC Puan, formerly of Green Packet, currently with Keeper Pay, needs no introduction, but we'll give it to him anyway. Maybe before we get started, we will do a quick introduction. Before I do that though, just want to let everyone know in this webinar, we will be trying to be a bit engaging. So there will be polls we'll be shooting out there to all attendees on Zoom. Please do participate in the polls. We'd love to know more about you, about your business, and how we can make this webinar more engaging and help answer whatever questions you have and whatever you're feedbacking to us based on the polls. Without much further ado, maybe what I'll do is I'll pass to Encik Zamir first to briefly introduce his business, or what it's all about, and before Encik Wan Syari and then CC Puan. So, Zamir?
Yes. Okay, let me first. Okay, first of all, thank you, Mr. Han and Ringgit Plus to invited me, and also hello to all the panelists and the audience, the participants, the attendees who joined this our session. My name is Muhammad Zamir Ghazali. I was situated in Terengganu. My company is GM Peladang Sdn Bhd, which is we are focused in the agriculture industries. But the most of our business focusing in the what we call it cash crop production. We are not in the commodity production like plant, palm oil or the rubber. No, so we are more focused to the cash crop, such as vegetables and the fruits too. So since now we are operated, I think we are started from 2004. We are one of the agriculture company which is accredited by the MOA, Ministry of Agriculture. We have the accreditation, what is called MyGAP, Malaysia Good Agriculture Practice, which means we are the one of the company who obey to the SOP and everything, what we call it Amalan Ladang Baik in Malaysia. Yeah. Our business too, nowadays we have also around 10 employees, which is taking care of our farm production, marketing, delivery, promotion, and administration. We are diversify our business now, not only in the farm production lines, but also as an agriculture technology provider, contract farming. Too, we have some of farmers who planting under our system. Pendidikan Kemahiran Malaysia, which is provided the training system for the students, and also we are doing some of the agro-tourism. So that is our focus in the business, but mostly we are using the technique what we call it fertigation system. It's the one of the technique in hydroponic system, which is can planting the vegetables and also the fruits too. So that's all for the first beginning. Yeah.
No, thanks for that. I think food security is a key point of focus on this time. So thanks so much for your service to the nation.
Yes.
Encik Wan Syari, over to you. Everyone's keen to hear more
Okay.
about your business.
Good morning. Welcome. Thank you very much, Mr. Han. Welcome to other panelists. My name is Ms. Wan Shairi Wan Ahmad. I'm the director of Wsf Travel. Our business actually, we divide to 3 sections. The first one, we are inbound tour operator, bringing tourists from overseas, from all over the world. 80% are from ASEAN and others, and 20% are domestic and also corporate Malaysian. That is our one angle. Number 2, we have actually F&B. We have our own restaurant, call it Gemalai Groups. And we actually serving also F&B to tourists from overseas. And number 3, we also doing online booking engine called speedybook.com. These are the online travel agent booking for all hotel only for Malaysian. We operating since 2009. So far, we have about 13 to 15 of our staff in travel side. And from the online, we have about 5 teams. And from the F&B, we have about 10 person. That is all we operating, mainly for tourist industry. That's all. Thank you.
No, thanks for that. I think everyone's very keen to hear more about how the tourism industry and F&B industry is doing.
Yeah.
How we can get out of this.
Now we have we have our own coaches. We have our own coaches. We have our own fleets. We have about 8 fleets, tourists to handle group from all the way from Thailand up to down to Singapore, and also covering the whole of Malaysia.
Yeah. Okay, thanks for that, Wan Shairi. Lastly, CC, why don't you just give a brief introduction about yourself and your business?
All right. Thank you, Han. Thanks for having me here. And great to be here with all the other panel members. I founded Green Packet in Silicon Valley actually back in year 2000 as a software company. And then we also developed broadband devices and selling to the telco worldwide. And after sold the controlling stake of T1 to Telekom Malaysia in 2015, now we venture into our new digital services pillar. About 3 years ago. It's really a whole new startup ecosystem that we built from scratch under the Share Keeper brand. In the ecosystem, actually, we have e-wallet, payment gateway, white label e-wallet in the fintech space, and we also have Keeper brand in the PropTech, including the AI, license plate recognition, parking, and also property management. And just very recently, we also launched the what we call internally war campaign that served as a call out to get Malaysians to embrace the new norms to cope with the Covid-19 pandemic by really accelerating the adoption of digital transformation. So as part of the campaign, we launched our flagship PropTech solution, Keeper Live, that comes with the AI thermal scanner and also an app for the users. So we have also introduced an enhanced version of Keeper Pay e-wallet that really cater for the new low-touch economy. So today, in terms of group, we have around 400 people. So we are actually in a very unique position that you see us as a group. We are both a 20 years old established corporate, and we also have multiple startup within the family, over the last 3 years. So that's a very quick introduction from our side.
No, thanks for that. So, I think technology, a lot of people have been talking about technology being a key enabler for the crisis going forward, right? Or to handle the crisis going forward. But let's go back to the title of the webinar, right? Which is, how do you manage this period using lessons from the past? Now, the three of you have run your business, 10, 20 years, right? So you've seen crisis in the past. So maybe if I can ask a straight out question, which is, what are the lessons we can learn from past financial crisis that maybe we can apply today? So maybe, Zami, I pass to you first. You've gone through crisis in the past.
Yes.
Please share what those are, and then what kind of thing we can learn from it.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Han. Actually, for me, myself, during my experience, we have been through 2 times of economic depression, as far as I remember. First in 2007 and second is in 2013. Yeah. But usually in any of the situation of economic down or what we call economic depression, agriculture industry is not so affected by that situation because of agriculture. Yes, everybody knows people need to eat. Yeah, it's more easier to understand like that. But this time, I think, Mr. Han, this time it's become more disaster because of this pandemic, COVID-19, shut down almost all the supply chain and also the what we call it market channel in the agriculture. It affected our revenue so much. Right? As far as I calculated, 2 months of this MCO, we almost lost our revenue, come close to the 50% of our revenue. Because of what? Price was decreased rapidly because customers such hotels and also the restaurant totally closed because of this pandemic. And this MCO also make our fruits and vegetables cannot deliver by the schedule. And people know because the perishable is the vegetables and fruit is the perishable item. So what we call from the past experience, we have learned that up and down price is the item or factor that you cannot control. Yeah. So for me and our company, instead of we try to overcome the factor up and down the price, it's over beyond of your limit. So we are not focusing on that item. Yeah. We are more control the factor that you are control. I mean, in our own hand. Because the price for output that we are produce, finally it depends to the customer to decide to buy it. So we are focusing more to the production yield, how to increase the production yield. We are more focused to some of the new technologies, so then the plant life can be more expectancy. Yeah, like before we are planting the chilies maybe 4 months like that, so we can extend that to the 6 months. That's particular of the item that we are trying to focus. But also then we are trying to lower the input cost production. Yeah? Some of the product that we use, the waste in the agriculture, we put it again, process it again, and use it as the fertilizer to support the plantation again. So this item, what we call it, we improvise it through the technologies, maintain our discipline of SOP, yeah, and upgrading the knowledge. So these of the factor that we control that our own, so that we learn that even though the price go down, the market also become more rigid, but then the production line we still can produce and increase as the usual level. Yeah. So during my experience now, I see that this COVID-19 need you to try to think beyond of the box. You need to find the new ways and also the new technologies. But then the most important point is you need to strengthen your fundamental of business. Maybe some of the business we have 2, 3, or 4 type of business, but the main is the production line. For me in agriculture, we do other agrotourism, selling the technologies, yes. But the production in the farm is the core of the business. That this fundamental you need to keep it strongly. So that's the view we have learned from past.
Thanks. Okay, so it sounds good. In summary, I think you mentioned, this crisis is a lot worse than previous. Previously, it was all about price. Yes. The prices of agricultural goods going up and down, and your recommendation was 3 things. Control what you can control. Yes. Don't worry about too much. Strengthen your business, be more resilient, and also start thinking out of the box. So I think these are quite interesting lessons that we can all learn to sustain our businesses today.
Yes, correct, Mr. Han.
Yeah. I mean, Shari, how about you? Like, I mean, you've been in business more than 10 years.
Yeah.
Seen ups and downs of the tourism industry. How does how is going through the previous kind of crises? As this is, I guess, specifically SARS.
Yeah.
In the tourism industry, how did that affect your business? What kind of things did you do to sustain your business?
I actually myself, we faced two crises before. First, ASEAN economic crisis, 1997. That one, they have no computers. Mostly are not much ITs involved. Mostly are newspaper or newsletter or whatever way, social media. I think Friendster during that time, no Facebook. That's number one. Number two, we have SARS pandemic is starting from November 2002. There is a period of IT time. Not so much, but IT start coming in. We face these two, and we have to move ourselves to two scenarios. Everybody goes on IT. It is good, but you have to remember certain people in our country do not understand ITs. With everybody goes to ITs, some of people who do not understand ITs will left over totally. So what you have to do now, we have to think back to basic. Continue with ITs, but some people who don't understand goes back to basic. Newsletter still have to go down. You have to go down to the street and start going and giving the flyers. It's not that people say, oh, that's old style. But at the moment, you do not left some people who don't understand. You have to continue and make the circle maximize. That is on our side. Now, we have to think these two problems before. Now, they have COVID-19. Is combination, maybe 2, maybe 3 pandemic before this, but this is the worst. What we have now, before people are still traveling, but now people from overseas not allowed to come in. We don't even allowed to go out interstate. The tourism almost shut down now. But what are we going to do? We have to play a role, because I told you earlier, we have F&B. We have a bit of F&B, we have a bit of tourism, we have a bit of IT. So we have to shift ourselves a bit. Reduce of the percentage of business from the tourism, but focus a bit more on F&Bs and focus a bit more on ITs, so that you have to balance up. You know, you cannot put one egg in one bar, all egg in one basket. This is what happened now. We have to start shifting and try to balance up. If you're depending 100% on tourism, I can tell you within these 3 or 4 months, we'll close shop. That's
Understand.
on my
So,
side.
yeah, so I mean, in your industry, it's very easy to just say tourism. From what I'm hearing from you, it's important to diversify your business across the various parts of tourism, and the ones that can still run. So you mentioned F&B, there is still F&B.
There's still F&B, yeah.
You mentioned digital bookings, there is still digital bookings, online-based bookings. Diversify your business, even if it's within the same industry, right? Just because people not coming in, I think, doesn't mean you can't do business. So thanks for that. So that's a cool lesson to learn from the past. Cici, over to you. Many crises in the past you've learned.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it seems like I'm the senior citizen of the group here, right? So I have been an entrepreneur for almost 30 years now, and I really have been experiencing actually 4 rounds of major crises. 97, 98, the ASEAN financial crisis. Then one was in year 2000, probably because at the time I was just founded Green Packet in Silicon Valley. That was exactly, the perfect storm on the first year that I founded the company. And then the 2008 US financial crisis, that somehow that's also impacted me. And another one was really during my P1 story. I think really the dot-com bubble and also the P1 journey was the bigger challenges perhaps that I've gone through. And if you look at the year 2000 dot-com bubble burst, actually brought me home from Silicon Valley for survival. After actually we burned more than 10 million US dollar at the time. But the P1 experience was the most painful, right? And after I took Green Packet public in year 2005, we become actually the first Malaysian unicorn then with a market cap of close to $1 billion US in year 2007. So it was also the same year that we received a 4G WiMAX license from the government on the same year. And then it was the time that our nightmare started. We invested actually more than 1.5 billion ringgit with investment from Intel Capital and also SKT from South Korea from year 2007 to 2013 and built a nationwide WiMAX network. We were never an operator before, but that didn't stop us actually made a very big hit actually. We had a very good run at the time. The market was desperately needed for a home broadband alternative to one with StreamMix at the time. So actually we capture 40% of new subscriber add whenever we are fighting with StreamMix at the time. And we were also profitable on an operational basis after 5 years, actually the fastest to reach EBITDA break even. But as luck would have it, right, WiMAX unfortunately have not made as a primary, a main 4G standard. Have no choice. We have to, invest probably another 2 billion again to upgrade it to LTE. But at that time, before we are able to raise the money, it became the faster and the more stable Telekom Malaysia HSBB, and really make the matter worse. At that time, I think the worst experience was we run a business that with a negative cash flow of 13 million every year, right? And at that time, with the competition from HSBB, and also there's no way that we can further improve on the WiMAX experience, we know that we really need to bring another strategic investor into the new business. And for that type of investment, normally it will, I know for sure, easily it will take, a year or more to have someone, to partner or to support us. Yeah, how to keep the business going when you have a 13 million negative cash flow every month, right? It's just on the site rental, because we were having like more than 2,000 base stations. Just on the site rental itself, actually it cost us more than 6 million a month, right? So wow. I believe at the time, what the lesson learned really, I think all of us being an entrepreneur and leader in the company, I think the crisis leadership, very, very directive and action oriented is very, very important. Very quick decision making, because at the time I was still on the group side, and actually my CEO Michael was running the business, so I have to support him and really make a quick decision and really communicate to the whole company that actually we face the crisis is really live and that matter. And at the time we really have to do really ruthless prioritization, right? What is most important, and of course during any crisis, survival. That means really cash is king, right? And we have to figure out very, very agile implementation. But I find it's most important, it's just on P1 alone, we were like having about 800 people at the time. Authentic communication, I think, is the key, right? You couldn't hide the challenge, right? So I remember me and Michael, we call, a company town hall, we share with everyone. Yes, we face the competition. WiMAX is not going to make it. We have to fall back on plan B to bring whether you call Y9 or another strategic investor. But you have to, you couldn't hide the challenge behind, and we have to share the issue. Here, every month we have negative 13 million, what is the way, right? So we literally establish and make the key responsibility to some of the key team member leading initiative first. How do we, is there any chance for us to grow the revenue? Then the second, how can we cut our costs, right? So I'm making I still remember a mission impossible to site acquisition team, I told them every month we need to pay 6 million just on the site rental, right? And we sign on a 10 years lease. But what I want you all to go is that to help me to negotiate 30 to 50% site rental down, okay, while it's still keeping the site alive, right? Because when you don't pay the rental, I think on average we already have overdue 3-month site rental. But I say go and negotiate with them 30 to 50% to bring it down, and while it still have to maintain the site to go alive. Because whenever you don't pay a rental, you know, the landlord just switch off the power, right? We didn't get the 50% reduction, you know, 2 months after that, but we managed to bring our site rental from 6 million a month, I think, down to slightly less than 4 million, you know, more than 30% saving. And all the landlord give us the support to keep the site up so that we can still charging the customer, right? And how do we increase our revenue? Because we also found that actually we got outstanding debt, you know, about 15 million that the subscriber have not paid us. So we have no choice to put all the overdue subscriber owing to us into CTOS, and one by one, actually they start paying us, right? So yeah, it was, but really summing it up, it was really a few of really the key, as I say, you need to prepare yourself, really tell yourself this is a real crisis, right? You need to change the way that you manage. You have to really change your leadership style, whether you are soft or you are, you know, you are strong, but you need to change really to a crisis leadership, right? And really make tough decision, and most importantly, I think communication. I tell all my team, right? Even you feel that you have tell everyone, right? I still remember my favorite analogy. I tell them, communication is just like shower, right? Okay, you take shower every day or maybe more than once, but you don't feel yourself dirty, right? Actually, you know, all of us, we are not working in the farm, and why not? You don't feel yourself dirty, but you still go to do shower, you know, 1 or twice a day. It's just that even you have communicated, but you rather over-communicate. Right?
Rather thanks for that, CC. I'll cut you off because we're running a bit short of time.
Okay, all right.
But thanks for that, though. We cannot learn from somebody with over 800 employees managing to a crisis. Then I know who else we can learn from. But in short, I agree with you completely, right? Quick, decisive crisis leadership with over communicating is something that I picked up from you also, and I practice in my own business. So thanks for that. I think, as I said earlier at the start of the webinar, we'll try and keep this a bit engaging, and we'll try and engage with also the attendees we have. So we'll run a few polls today. The first one is about our attendees here. Like, what is your business? Are you a small business? Are you a large business? Are you a medium business? Are you a corporate? Please do vote, or rather not vote. Please do answer our poll so we have a better sense of what kind of businesses you guys are running, or if you are business people in this webinar, please do answer. We'll give about 5 seconds to answer, and then we will tailor kind of our answers and responses and questions accordingly. I think that's enough for the first question. And then can I actually vote? And then also the second question, which is coming up in about 3 seconds, I hope, from our administrators, is this will definitely help us tailor our answers a bit better, which is, what is your cash flow position if you're a business over the next 6 months? Is it totally fine if this continues? Is it a bit tighter but still manageable? Or are you foreseeing that you're going to need financial assistance? So these are kind of 3 key situations that you need to consider. What is your cash flow position? Is it enough? Is it a bit tight but still can? Or is it you need some financial assistance? Just give a few seconds for our attendees to finish polling, and then we can move on to the next part of the webinar, which is now that we've talked about previous financial crisis, what are the key differences of this one? What do we think about this one? What's our overview on today's crisis both health and economic that we're facing. What are we currently doing as business people to save the business, to sustain it, and how are we more prepared this time? But before I do that, maybe I'll pass over to Jason. As a bank, you've seen all kinds of companies across all kinds of crises. What do you think of today's crisis? What's your overview of today? What are the sentiments, as a banker from the industry about the crisis today that you can share with our entrepreneurs here as well as attendees?
Thanks, Han, and good morning, everyone. I think firstly, COVID-19 basically impacted all industries. All right, I think including all of us here, right, bankers as well. We are not spared, and of course, this time around, we see a probability of a prolonged recession. Right, I think some economists basically predict that it will be a U curve, and some actually predicted that it can be an L-shaped recovery. And having said that, I believe that it will be a long drawn, to recovery. So I believe this will be at least, for the next 12 to 18 months, of recovery for the economy. And as for the SME, I would think that it is very challenging, year ahead. And in Malaysia, that we have about 900,000 of SME entity in Malaysia, and of which majority of these are actually micro and small size SME. Okay, since the MCO, I think we all know that all the businesses are affected. And coming from the trade speaker earlier, some of them, the business has dropped by more than 50%. We see sales has dropped, supply chain has been interrupted, and collection also has been impacted. So arising from this, I think most important here is that the SME must be able to manage the cash flow effectively and efficiently. So as the government actually has, the government has come out with some a rescue package, all right, which it was basically launched sometime back in March. So I would encourage actually the SME to look at the packages that are offered by the government, as well as the banks, to take up the packages in order for them to bridge this difficult period. And earlier in 1st of April, there's also a moratorium given to businesses across Malaysia. So for those that has not taken any moratorium, please do come forward to the bank. Right, we are still able to actually provide a moratorium, for all businesses if you require. So overall, it will be a challenging road ahead, but the government is doing enough, basically, to come up with the stimulus package for all the SME. Right. Thanks.
No, I think since you mentioned it, I just to clarify, U-shape and L-shape are kind of economic curves, right? Where U-shape it recovers but a bit slower and then goes back to normal.
Yep.
And then L-shape is it recovers but very, very slowly and it never reaches its full potential again. Right? That's
correct.
Which is completely, both are worse than what we used to like to think will happen.
Experience.
Which is the V-shape recovery, right? So U-shape is slow recovery, and L-shape is recovery, but we will never reach the potential of the previous.
Correct.
You also mentioned packages that are available. Everybody's hearing about all these kind of acronyms, right? ADF, SRF, GGF, GGS, and some we all not too sure about. But I believe you have something to share today about to most of our entrepreneurs here who may or may not be aware on the packages. So maybe we can throw it up. Your team has prepared something. Maybe you can walk through very quickly what are available, and then I'll ask you some questions about what's Maybank doing about all this.
Oh, okay, sure. Basically, if you look at this, what we did is that we did a summary of some of the packages that actually came out by Bank Negara and the government. Here you have a special relief fund. You have got the second one is the AES, and the third one is the agro-food facilities, automation and digitalization. And of course, the last that came out is the GGS scheme, Prihatin. So all in, if you look at it, there is actually it comes to more than 20 billion of funds that that the government has came out with. Of course, the first and the very famous one was the SRF, the first one, and the fund was basically fully utilized. The 10 billion was fully utilized in the span of like 2 months. It was fully taken up. And as for Maybank, I think we are very active in this. I think over the last as of early May, I think early May, we have approved about 2.1 billion in Maybank itself out of the 10 billion fund that was granted. And of course, the other thing was that last week actually, the federal government has gazetted a waiver of stamping fee for 4 out of these 5 funds, which is the first 4. So for SME, if you have to apply for this fund, what you need to do is that you need to approach a bank. Stamping is being waived, and of course, in Maybank also we provide in-house legal documentation, which make the process so much faster and easier. I'm not going to go into details of this. I believe we will share this with you after this session. If you have any question, please bring it up, and I will try to answer.
Yep.
Later.
Okay, no, I think there are some questions now specifically on this. So before we move to the next part of the webinar, which is what advice we have from the panel as well as yourself, Jason, to SMEs. Before we move to that, let's just focus on this part, because there are some questions on this, which is it's not just the SRF, right? Even if the SRF is finished up, that the full 10 billion allocation is finished up, there are still alternatives. If I'm considering the SRF, what other key alternatives I should be looking at out of these 5? It looks like the All Economic and the GG Government Guarantee Scheme, right? Is that correct?
Yes, basically, I think other than the SRF, you still have the other 4 there, which is available. And if you have to look at it, basically, some are in the form of working capital, some are in the form of working capital as well as capex. So it depends, on your nature of the business. See which is more suitable, for your business. If today, for example, if Encik Zamil, you are in the agro-food business, right? You can always, look into this fund, and there is a possibility that we can work out something for you, under this fund. And the best thing is that all stamping has been, waived by the government for this.
Okay. No, thanks for that. And then I've got another question from the floor. Don't mind if we just answer this one, then we move back to the webinar agenda. But it's so the government's announced 6-month moratorium. So this means for a majority of loans for retail and SME, there's no need to pay for installments for next 6 months. It'll just be added on at the end. So there's a 6 months relief period. What happens if this economic recession or economic crisis lasts more than 6 months? And me as a business, or any other business owners here, foresee that beyond the 6 months moratorium period, we might need additional help. What are the options available for us? Come towards the end of that 6 months. Maybe the economy hasn't recovered, or our business, whether it's tourism or agriculture or fintech, even hasn't recovered. What options do we have? What should we do?
Okay, I think first thing first, it's very important that the business approach us early, all right, prior to expiry of your moratorium period. And most SME, the moratorium will expire on the 30th of September. So before, I think at least 2 months or 3 months before, you should approach a bank. And what the bank can do here is that we can always look into extension of it, or doing an R&R for your facilities. R&R basically is rescheduling and restructuring of your facilities. But I advise that SME to come to the bank as early as possible, not to come to us on the on the 11th hour, which it can be very difficult for the bank to basically get it implemented. And coming to us early is also a good thing, because in Maybank what we have is that we are a bank with a very huge database, and with the database, what we are doing now is we are also doing some matchmaking, I call it, where we actually help our borrowers to look for potential investor, if there is. And for those customers that actually, that is still, strong in cash flow, and if they want to expand the business to increase the market share, this is where we will also provide them with a target company to look at. So we are not only looking at a banking solution. We are not only looking at doing an R&R. We are also helping our SME to look for investors or to look for a target company in that sense. So all this basically, it will basically help the business to move forward one way or the other. Right. Thanks.
Okay. No, thank you for that. Thank you for that. I think hopefully that's helped a lot of our attendees here in terms of, hey, look, it's not just about the SRF. It's about other facilities available. I think we can stop the screen share now. Hold on. It's not just about the SRF. It's about other things that are also available. But also the key thing you want to mention is the moratorium is for 6 months. But if you need more than that, banks are willing to consider beyond that. But it's on a case by case. Come to us, talk to us, discuss with us your situation. We're happy to restructure or recover.
Yes.
Reschedule.
Reschedule. Yeah.
R&R you mentioned. So that's very helpful. Thank you. We're about to move to the next phase of the next agenda webinar here, which is what's different about this crisis, and what our SME panelists advise, and what is not advice. What are they doing about it? This specific crisis, and then after that will be advice for fellow SMEs. But before we do that, just one more. Want to just go into the polling one more time to just poll our audience to be more engaging. A couple of questions for our audience. The first one is about the challenges you're facing today before our panelists start about it, which is, for all SMEs here in Zoom, in the Zoom Q&A, and please, if you're on Facebook Live, comment there as well so we can see, what your comments are, which is, what is your largest challenge right now as an SME, right? You can select as many or as few as you want to apply. The first is lack of customers, i.e. lack of demand. The second, lack of supply, i.e. my suppliers are not working, my supply chain is broken. Number three, I still got business, but I have a lot slower debtor repayment due to cash flow issues from my debtors or my customers. Or four, even worse, I have actually starting to see increase in bad debts due to some customers of mine closing down. Or maybe it's five, none of the above. My business is doing very well. I don't have any issue. I don't have any challenges. So please do poll. Do respond to us. And then the next question is on Zoom. Please, the next poll on Zoom is coming up in a second or two. Give me a second. Pull it up. Next question is, before our panelists start speaking about their advice for us, as small, medium, and large business owners, where do you go to seek advice to support your business? Friends, own network, social media, TV, etc. Search engines. You go to the government or any others. Please do participate in our poll so we can know more about where you're going to seek advice, and we can also talk about it on the side. If you're on Zoom, you can answer the poll right now. If you're on Facebook Live, please comment, and we'll certainly respond. All right, thank you. So yeah, where do you go to seek advice? Okay, let's move on. So the final part of the agenda for today in the webinar is, look, we talked about previous financial crisis, what we had to do, what we had to think about, how to manage, what we can control, how to diversify your business, why crisis leadership and communication is important. Let's talk more about today in terms of what are you seeing today, what are we doing, what are you doing in your own businesses today to respond to the crisis. And we'll wrap it up with the last agenda because we're running short of time. What final advice do you have for the attendees here who are more SMEs of how to handle this, right? So maybe back to Zami again. How is the crisis for you today? And what are your plans, over the next few months to handle, as well as any advice for SMEs in your industry or any others?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Han. Under this current situation, if I can give and share the ideas how to get ready and try to overcome this situation. I divide it to two scenarios. Yeah. First is for the short-term target. Yeah. How you need to respond and try to react for result that you can earn by the short-term targets. At this level, for me, we try to cash in the output of our agriculture as soon as possible. Yeah. Either to sell it with very minimum price, but surely profitable as usual, but not profitable just like before. Or some of our product we try to sell it just to recover, to break even only. So then, because you need to reflect. So you need to reluctant or refuse to keep the stock, which is can increase your losses because the output in agriculture is very perishable. Uh, more long you try to keep it and try to find the new the better price, the new market, so the damage can be become more higher. So the short term target, my idea and our team also respond, sell it to change it into the cash, because if you have the cash in your hand, so maybe you can change the variety of the crops or make a new rotation planning. Yeah? So that is the core of the idea in the short term of in the short term target of life of time. But for the long term target, yeah, you need to try to diversify the plantation and not only focus in one major crop. Most of our farmers and our members in the agriculture, they are focusing only for one crops only, which is because you are hustler in that area and also have the permanent market for that product. Yeah? You try to adjust your technology, reinvest, purchase a new equipment in order for you to try to plant out of the usual season. So that you can gain the better price again and try to reshape your production line. Other than that, for me, this kind of approach we try in within in these 2 months under this MCO situation. Try to add value in your product and respond with a new norm that we are facing right now. Try to set up a new marketing strategy such as online selling. But in order for you to do that, yeah, you need to try the new, what we call it in agriculture, the new variety of plantation. For example, before this, we are planting and our production line for rock melon, the shape of the rock melon, which is have a netting like that, consistently 3 to 4 ton per month for rock melon only, not the other vegetables. But during this time of MCO, we saw it because this kind of melon, their shell life not so long. It can be damaged within 3 to 5 days, and then the freshness and the look are not so good anymore. So what we do is we try to find a new hybrid of melons. We try to contact of our friends in overseas and try to get the new of hybrid, and we plantation the new variety. So this time we find out that we can have the new of hybrid melon, which is they have the shell of life can go to 3 weeks without any damage. So this kind of approach you need to put in your strategy. So that particular situation, then you have a very strong product again. You can try to penetrate a new market. So right now we are in GM Padang. We can sell this rock melon and also our pineapple through by the courier system. Before this, we cannot do that because by post like and customer we get the fruit and then we saw damage from air. So this kind of approach when you find the new technologies, the new hybrid of seed, you plant it, try to make a new promotion, solve the problem face by face. Yes, maybe at the first of the beginning, the customers and the demand is not there. Yeah? People buying, but not as the usual, they are buying our product before. But then you try to keep it and try to make a new relation with your customers, make a promotion. Sometimes we give it free first, and then the demand slower grow. Yeah? Other than that, for our chilies and what we call the cucumber, Japanese cucumber, we also planting here. We change it to make the processing. Two types of processed food we put together. First is the paste, and also we make some of the pickles from this cucumber and the chilies too. Yeah. Yes, that is the way for you to try to keep that product to handle the grade B or the grade C of the product, and then you try to penetrate again to the new market. Yeah. So this kind of the solution, I suggest it to members of the colleges outside there, which is also in the agriculture line. Maybe you can look from our experience and try to involve in that way we are make. Yeah, especially in your production line, try to reinvest for the new technologies, find the new solution which can you to prolong your add values and also lower your cost. So this kind of approach that we contribute to our business.
Yeah, no, sounds like great advice for not just the agriculture industry, right? Which is, don't just focus on one crop you mentioned, right? Yeah. Try to work fast and save costs rather than trying to get the best price for a perishable product. Diversify your crop, you mentioned just now already. Yeah. And then use technology. I think a lot of people assume the use of technology is only in certain industries, but I think I agree with you that technology can be used in all industries, especially
yes, of course.
Improve your yields, improve the control over your business. I think that's fantastic. Mm-hmm. So that's really good advice for our attendees. But maybe next ask Wang Shari, because everyone wants to know about how the tourism industry is faring right now. Forget about crisis, right? Right now, COVID-19. There's kind of two things, right? One is, how are you handling it? What are your plans the next few months, as well as any advice for any of your peers in similar industry, as an SME owner.
Okay, basically for leisure market, because tourism have leisure and business market. For leisure market is almost there. I have very focused advice to all my friends from the tourism industry. You have to change the concept of traveling. Number one, focus on interest tourism. Research tourism, for example, medical tourism, food tourism, don't only based on leisure market, because now nobody will go simply just go holiday as before. Now you have to focus. If people wanted to go, people are sick, they need to go for medical. You can focus on medical tourism. Interest tourism are the thing to do now. If you just focus on leisure, you cannot survive. Please balance up. Do a bit of medical tourism. Do a bit of corporate tourism. Do a bit of food tourism, or they call it interest tourism. Whoever focus in. Maybe after this, they can have essential tourism, Who knows? Yeah? Because that is the only way to survive. At the moment, if you're focusing on leisure market, you will be suffer. I don't think so you can survive until the end of the year. The flight, international flight is not coming in. The transport is not allowed to travel yet. So the hotel is also don't know whether they can travel or not, whether they can open or not. At the moment, we are the hardest market to survive now. But it's not only about us. It's about Malaysia now. 2020 is not a making money year. It's about surviving year. Please, this is for all of us. Focus on Malaysia. Forget about other countries. I'm so sorry to say that. It's about all of us to survive. the big one have to help the small one, the middle one. Everybody have to struggle now, but it's all for Malaysia. It's survival here. It's not making money here. So that's only the point for me.
No, thanks for that. I think the thing you mentioned about medical tourism is something that a lot of people didn't expect, right? Or don't think about, which is like, tourism is down for sure. But then there are all different parts of tourism that a lot of people don't assume have. And I guess your statement about Malaysia, support Malaysia, I think personally it will happen anyway. Why? Because we can't fly anywhere anyway. We can't go anywhere anyway. So while I think it's also good to have that spirit of supporting the domestic economy. I think it will happen anyway because of the nature of the pandemic, that you can't fly. You can't fly anywhere.
As I told earlier, I will support Zamir also. Why not I just bring people to go to Ladang for food tourism, you know?
You are almost welcome. Everybody.
Yeah, so no, exactly. Collaboration side like this will create new products which are suited for the current economic situation, right? A Ladang is not a closed place where people can gather. It's an open place. Lots of fresh air, etc.
Durian time now. Now it's durian season, right?
Yeah. So I guess because the reason why I keep bringing this up because there is a Q&A for you, Encik Wan Syarif, about how you diversifying, and I think you also answered it, which is, look, there's all kinds of things. Medical tourism, not just your F&B business.
Yeah.
But medical tourism, you just mentioned Ladang tourism also can.
That's a good idea.
There is ways to diversify even within the most hardest hit business in our economy. I think let's just lastly move to CC. There's a couple of questions for you. Obviously, how are you managing during this crisis? You mentioned crisis leadership in the past. I'm guessing you are undertaking that too today. You also mentioned communication. But how about your business? Which is how has this specific crisis affected your business? Firstly, what are you doing today about it over the next month or two? And also, what advice do you have for people who are looking to diversify? You've had so many diverse business lines in your past. What kind of business should entrepreneur go into at the moment?
All right. I take this a few questions together. One thing that as all of us, the entrepreneur, right, we always tend to stay more positive and have the optimism on us. And if you are looking at crisis, right, in Chinese word, is exactly two words, right? Crisis in Chinese is called 危机. It's a combination of two words, combination of danger and opportunity, right? Of course, when we are facing this really pandemic is extremely challenging, but there are also other opportunities that surface. We are just lucky we are in the technology business, but we also make a very, very quick adjustment in terms of looking at in the next 1, 2, 3 months, how will the behavior or the dynamic of our customer and also market change. I totally agree with Encik Wan Syarif just now. If you are in tourism business, your customer change. So how do you adapt, right? So take that example. For us, we just invested actually about 1.5 million just May alone to launch a marketing campaign called We Are Ready. Actually to serve a call out to everyone to equip themselves with the necessary digital tool to face on the new reality. So I think on any businesses that you are, you probably have to figure out, how do you adapt, how to use technology and digitalization so that you are opening up new avenue and channel, right? In terms of your approach to the customer. And just take an example, on both our flagship product, one is really on fintech. Right now, we have a lot more feature, enable people to order on table, pay on table. If you go to any restaurant, right? Even the restaurant, the counter, the owner tend not to, or you as a person tend not to pay the cash and receive cash because you do feel, potentially that might be virus, even on the money, when you exchange. So what are the additional new feature that you can add on your product to suit for the change in the user or customer behavior? And even for a prop tech, you know, we originally we developed a properly platform to help company to manage a workforce management and also wisdom management. So we add on an AI thermal scanner so that the workforce management become a thermal scanner that can measure temperature, whereby it's really needed by all businesses today, right? So it's just that the fine tuning and changes to your existing product or business model, especially think about how you can embrace technology, right? I've seen, you know, example that embracing technology not only help you to automate, digitalize and increase productivity, but really opening a total new business avenue that you can never imagine before, right? And answering the question, you know, in terms of what are the viable businesses that you should get in, I think definitely there's a term right now called low-touch economy, and how to enable the low-touch economy is really through technology and digitalization. So embrace technology and digital on whatever business you are in is very, very important. Then the second thing, I also agree, like what Encik Zamil say, actually agriculture, right? Food, even the overall the demand might reduce because of the activity. People dining out is less. You eat less at home and so on. But a food business, you know, especially adding that technology component in it and make the productivity increase, selling it online, approaching, you know, a different channel and avenue. So those are some of the new add-on, right, and the modification that you always have to tweak it on your business.
Oh no, thank you. I think there's quite a lot there, right? Which is crisis. A lot of people assume crisis is just purely a word, right? But for entrepreneurs, you mentioned crisis is actually not just something dangerous that happens, but also a huge opportunity. And I'm already seeing, you know, between the 3-4 of us, lots of different ways we can think of new opportunities, new products, which are suited. If you are a true entrepreneur, I think, like, you know, Encik Zami mentioned, Encik Wansari mentioned, also, if you're a true entrepreneur, you will figure out how to create opportunities out of a crisis. So we mentioned about the funny thing that came out was ladang tourism. For me, that was funny. But you mentioned low touch economy. I think, you know, this might not be the last health pandemic we face in the next few years, right? If something like this can come so easily. So not only is this one already going to be several months and going to impact the economy of several months, this might not be the last one. So if you don't prepare now and just hope it ends, you are not prepared for the next one. So thanks for that. I've got a few questions, I guess, from the audience, the attendees. One for you, Jason, which is where do I go to apply for all these business loans? Obviously at Maybank, where do I go? And then second is, look, like there's so much news about when allocations come, they get filled up fast. How do I make sure my application is, you know, sped up, it goes as fast as possible? How do I speed up my application to make sure that you guys get it approved fast and get it dispersed fast? Well, what are the ways to go about it, Jason?
Yeah, I think it's very important. Thank you. And I think it's very important that you know, we have a proper set of documents. All right, when we apply for a loan, and this is something that we have prepared, you know, for all SMEs. All right, when you need to apply a loan, basically, you know, you need to get all these documents ready for submission to the bank. And where can we apply for the loan? That question is basically, if you are existing customers of Maybank already, I believe you will have a relationship manager that is handling your account, which, you know, they can help you to apply. And for those that has not opened an account with Maybank, what you can do is that below there you see the you know, general number to call in, or better is to actually send us a email. I think the email address is there, bizloans@maybank.com.my. So this email basically goes straight directly into my business banking, you know, box where, you know, we can pick up and send it to the respective business center to contact you, you know, for your loan application. So that will be the fastest way for you to actually apply, get all the documents ready, and, you know, send it into our email address here. Right, thanks.
Oh, no, I guess, yeah, it's a couple of things more to ask you, Jason.
Okay, yep.
During this SRF period, like what was the fastest that you managed to get an application received? Once you received the application, how fast could you actually process it and disperse?
Oh yeah, in fact, if you had to look into the SRF, basically, it was launched sometime March this year, and in the short period of 2 months, basically we have put up about 2.1 billion of approval, and on average per application is about 48 hours from the bank, and thereafter we will actually submit to Bank Negara to get the Bank Negara approval. So all in all, I think within a week or so, we can issue the letter of offer to our borrowers, right? And the other thing is that we already started releasing a lot of the SRF loan. What make it possible during the MCO is because we have our in-house loan documentation. So as you know, during the MCO, a lot of law firms are closed, right? So we are not able to get them to basically do the documentation. We have our own in-house, so from approval to documentation to releases, these are all being managed within the bank. Yes, for as far as the approval from the bank, I think 48 hours we can get it done. Plus Bank Negara's approval, everything, all in all, a letter of offer can be out in about 7 working days.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Thanks.
So if I count all the days,
Yeah.
it can be just a few short weeks between when I start to when I actually get it done.
Yeah. Actually, in fact, sorry.
But your advice is to get the all your documents ready, don't have half your documents here and half your documents there, right? It's to get it all
Yes, correct.
And then a lot of people misunderstand that it's just a bank who's doing it. There's all sorts of parties, right? You mentioned lawyers, you mentioned Bank Negara. It's not just the bank solely who is a participant in this process, right? So I think as an SME owner, I'm also aware of this because we've gone through several banking applications on that, which is, the minute you have everything ready and there's no further questions, it can be a few short weeks.
Yeah, and this involves CGC and SJPP as well.
Yeah,
right. For the
not
guarantee.
just exactly. It's not just a bank. Yeah. We have one question for you here, CC, which is a funny one. Can we be a reseller for Keeple Pay?
Yes, definitely. I just answered the question. Yes, we are definitely welcome. We want you to be part of our team. Just log into ready.greenpacket.com. Then you can sign up as our reseller for various product lines that we have. Not only Keeple Pay, but also Keeple Live, the thermal scanner, and so on. Okay.
All right. No. Okay. Thanks for that. That's a nice, easy question for you, CC. Thanks for all your questions that you've sent. I don't think that we've pretty much answered all the questions. And thanks you so much for Facebook Live audience for sending in your Facebook comments. We are collecting them and using them as part of the webinar content. Thanks so much. Maybe before we end the webinar, I'll have one more request, which is to run one final poll, which is what does our attendees here think of the webinar? Please do rate. You can rate excellent, very good, good, fair, or poor. How do you find this webinar? How can we improve? Send us an email. Send me an email, han.liu@ringgitplus.com, and we can maybe use this to invite our panelists again, or invite new panelists, or change the topic, whatever topics you want to cover. We can do it going forward. But before we end the webinar, maybe I want to get one final sentence of kind of advice, or you can give a bit of encouragement to our SME owners here on the webinar from each of you. We'll start with Wan Zami first. Zami first before Wan Sherry, and then CC, and then I'll hand over Jason for the final word before I close up. One word of sentence of encouragement, Zami.
Okay. For all our colleges outside there, especially in existing agripreneur, first of all, make sure you are not alone in this situation. Try to contact with the agencies of government like Pharma, Federal Agriculture Marketing, so that because of many of the scheme and the facilities, especially in the logistic terms, are provided by the government agencies, so they can help you a lot. So that's one more thing. And the second is try to participate and join any NGOs or associate farmers, or the business club members in agriculture, so that you can make the new network, you can exchange the solution of the ideas, and maybe you can penetrate or deliver the new product changed by the others. So these two things you need to try to reshape and try to get the boost your motivation. Don't give up, because you are still in this industry, and maybe for one day we can also develop again our business again.
No, thank you for that, Zami. Shari, just one sentence of encouragement, advice, or support.
Stay alive.
Stay alive, survive.
Stay alive.
That's all you need.
And stay united. As I saw, as like Mr. Zami said, we are in a very difficult situation now. But you have to remember that a lot more people having more difficult than us out there. So stay united, stay strong, do as much as possible for Malaysian, and pray for the best, so that we are all will be surviving and facing 2020 and start all over again 2021. That's all.
Yep. Thanks. Cici?
Yes, this pain,
just
this
one sentence,
right? Pain, this challenge will only make you stronger to do bigger things.
No, thanks to that. Jason, any words?
Yeah, actually, I mean, learning from the three speakers today, I think we must be nimble, agile, and must be able to adopt to the new norm. I think we need to learn how to change our business model to adapt, to this new norm. So I think I've learned a lot, from the three speakers today as well. Thank you very much. We are all in one, and we will survive.
Yeah. No, thanks for that. It's been a really fun discussion with all of you. That we learned so many things, right? Communicate during this time, crisis in leadership, diversify your business, whether it's tourism or all the way to agriculture. Be resilient, survive this year. Get your, banks are out there. They have products to help us. Let's get ourselves in order so that we can use them properly. They are here to help us, but we've got to use them properly. Right? So many things we have learned today. Thanks so much. I hope this has been useful for all attendees. Thank you for attending this webinar for SMEs, how to handle COVID-19 with lessons from the past. I send a big thank you to all panelists. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Zami. Thank you, Shari. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks everyone here on Zoom for following us, as well as on Facebook Live. See you next time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Class.
Thank you, Han. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, everyone.